Okay, so here we are with another DC Multiverse from Mcfarlane Toys, and this is the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, which we can see is from the Batman RIP storyline, part of Grant Morrison's massive run on the character, which unfortunately it was a great run of comics, but it hit a little bit of a speed bump because of the new 52. But it still wound up being pretty great. I enjoyed it. I just wish that it hadn't have had to deal with that new 52 nonsense towards the end there. But whatever. We're gonna go ahead and open this up. Here's the cross-sell figures on the back. You got Lex Luthor, which I need to get. Batgirl, which I love that Batgirl figure. You can see my video on that if you're interested. Got this Nightwing from the video game. I don't really like any of those designs from that video game, so I'm probably not going to pick that one up. Although I really want a good Nightwing figure, so hopefully I can find one in this line. Got the Criminal from the Three Jokers, which I still need to get. And this Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey that I'm kind of on the fence on, because I haven't even seen that movie, and I heard very mixed things about it. And one of these days, I guess I'll have to watch it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So, yeah, like I said, this is from the Grant Morrison Batman run. This is the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. This is what happens when you take Bruce Wayne out of the equation. And it was also inspired by a Silver Age Batman comic in which Batman travels to another planet where it turns out that he has Superman-like powers, and there's another Batman that's there that observed him through like a space telescope or something, and was inspired to also become Batman there, and so he was the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. That was the name of the planet, I believe. His name was Tlano, Tlano, Tlano. And that's the story of him. So we got another one of these rubbery knives, like what came with Dark Knight Returns Joker. So I'm guessing that means this is a rubbery baseball bat. And yeah, it's pretty rubbery. So there's the accessories and Batman himself. So in this storyline, the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh was a backup personality that Bruce Wayne had developed in case, like, he had some kind of mental breakdown, or he had created this Batman of Zur-En-Arrh character actually in his mind, that was like his backup personality. There he is out of the package. So we'll come back to the figure and the accessories in just a moment. But first we got more stuff we got to open, because you're on the back of the card back, whatever you want to call this, the insert. We've got the trading card and the figure stand, and I'm having a hard time. I really wish they'd find a better way to pack these trading cards in here, because now the whole back of the thing is wanting to peel off. Let's try it from the bottom with the figure stand and see if I have some better luck there, although it's kind of this time they're both on the same piece of plastic. I've noticed sometimes they have these both as like two separate bubbles on here, and sometimes it's the same bubble. Okay, so I managed to get it peeled off from the stand, and then I can get it up at the top. I guess I just used too much glue at the top. Hopefully I didn't wreck that card too badly. Got a little bit of an indentation there. I don't know if that came from me trying to open it or it being in the package. I noticed the edges of this are slightly rounded. Maybe that's to keep it from fraying or foxing, I think is what they call it. Some slight foxing on the edge of the trading card. Yes, so there's the figure stand, basic figure stand, something that should come with every single action figure. And Mcfarlane is cool for doing that. So, Milk Mustache was watching one of my videos, and he was remarking how they had the best figure stands, and I'm like, they certainly do. They almost have the only figure stands. I think other than, like, the G.I. Joe retro action figures, I think those are the only ones I've been opening that have had figure stands. So here's the trading card. It's the same picture from the back of the package, and it is a really cool picture of the action figure. So, like I said, I usually would prefer for it to be a piece of artwork rather than a photograph of the action figure I already have. But I like to point out when it's actually a really nice picture, and that is a really nice picture. They do a good job with these pictures. It's just like I just personally would prefer artwork. That's just my personal opinion. That's not me saying that the action figure photographs are bad. All right, so real name Bruce Wayne, and there's a lot of stuff on here. I think I'm gonna start skipping some of the stuff on these cards just because they tend to reuse a lot of information. So we'll just skip to the part where it looks like it's different, which says, some time ago, Bruce Wayne took part in an isolation experiment overseen by Dr. Simon Hurt, in which the psychiatrist gave Bruce the post-hypnotic phrase Zur-En-Arrh. When heard by Batman years later, this phrase shatters his mind and leaves him wandering Gotham City in a daze. Always ready with a backup plan, though, Batman has previously developed a persona within himself, a Batman without Bruce Wayne, and stitches together a new Batman suit calling himself the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. So, there's a lot of great detail to this figure that I was noticing even when it was in the package. You can see all kinds of like stitches and stuff because this is a suit that's literally made out of garbage. And unlike the Robert Pattinson Batman suit that just looks like it's made out of garbage, this one actually is made out of garbage, and it still looks better. The wild color pattern aside. But man, that cowl is cool looking. This is to me a perfect Batman head. Like, it doesn't even have any stitching or anything on it. I think this would be a great head for any type of Batman figure, actually. I might see if I can get another one of these just so I can use his head on a custom. I think that would look really cool. But yeah, there's some cool texture to the red parts of the fabric, and you can see lots of stitching in there. The bat emblem is sculpted in there in layers. So you've got like a layer here for this yellow oval, and another layer here for the black bat, and that one's got kind of almost like a leathery sort of texture to it. Can you catch that in the monitor? It looks really cool. And then he's got a belt that looks like, it's just an old weight belt with some pouches and capsules and things attached to it. Some of it's like just useless junk that in his crazed mental state he thinks is like his bat radia or whatever. But, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of great detail, the lacing on the boots, very nice. You got the sort of standard Mcfarlane articulation, like lots of good articulation at the torso, so you can get him into lots of good poses there. Arms go all the way up and all the way around. They're slightly hindered by the flares here at his shoulder, but that's what he looks like in the comic book, so you can't really do a whole lot about that. So that's about as high up as you can get his arms to go because the flare shoulders kind of get in the way, but they do go all the way around. It's got the funky Mcfarlane butterfly joints that seem to go in and out and up and down in all kinds of crazy ways. Got the rubbery trunks that helps to hide the joint here, but, doesn't hinder the articulation too much. He can still kick all the way up. A lot of great detail on the cape. Like, look at that cape. Like, again, like with the head, I think this would make a great cape for just like a regular standard Batman figure, not specifically a Zur-En-Arrh Batman, but it does have that sort of ragged edge that definitely calls to mind Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. But if you wanted to, you could probably like take this cape and head and put it onto like a different Batman body and maybe paint it to match. Like if you say we're able to put this head onto, I don't know, like the Three Jokers Batman, you could probably take this head and cape and put it onto that one and repaint it all black, and that would look really cool. Of course, the Three Jokers Batman already has a really cool head. It has that Jason Fabok looking Batman head, but I'd be willing to buy an extra one just to use it as a base figure and put all this stuff on there. Maybe I'd even paint all that stuff like blue and gray because I do like that Bronze Age Batman. And I wasn't ever able to get that Batman Year 2 one, and it looks like it's expensive to buy now. I might still try to buy it. I don't know. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with this figure. He's really cool looking. I really enjoyed the Grant Morrison run on Batman, and was really looking forward to getting this figure when I saw it. So I've been waiting for it for a long time. Now something I think it might be a problem, and I've noticed it's frequently a problem with these McFarlane figures, is these hands are really hard, and this bat is flaccid, like very flaccid. So you can go ahead and make your jokes now. Go ahead, make your jokes about hard and flaccid. I'll wait a few minutes. Okay, have we got all the hard and flaccid jokes out of the way? Are those done? Okay, you got a couple more. You look like you're sitting on something. Yeah. Okay, you got that out of your system? All right, great. So let's go ahead and see if I can try to wedge this bat into his hand. And the hands like even seem like harder even than they usually are. The more rigid than the McFarlane plastic even is. But I managed to kind of rotate the bat and kind of pinch it in that way. So I kind of spun it around a little bit as I tried to put it between the thumb and the forefinger. And look at that. Now he's got his bat and he looks really cool. He's about to lay the smacketh down on somebody. And then he's got this little knife. And again, like I said, with the Dark Knight Returns Joker, like I had such a hard time getting that knife into his hand. I think this is going to give me the same sort of problem. There we go. So you can get these weapons into his hands, but it takes a little bit of effort. Like, my advice to McFarlane Toys, if any of them are watching, is start to make the weapons out of a slightly more rigid material and the hands out of a slightly less rigid material. Like, I would say, like, don't make the hands as soft as, don't make anything as soft as these weapons outside of, like, a cape. Like, that's a good plastic to use for a cape. It's not a good plastic to use for a knife. You should have a little more rigidity to this, and a little less rigidity to the hands. If the hands were an equal amount of rigid to the weapons, I don't think they would be anywhere near as difficult to get in there. If the weapons were slightly more rigid than the hands, they would be pretty easy to get in there. There's a reason that most toy companies make the weapons out of a fairly rigid plastic, and usually some kind of nylon or something, and then make the hands out of a less rigid plastic, so the hands can wrap around the weapons. But instead, you got like a really rigid hand that just does not want to move, and you've got these soft rubber weapons that just don't want to press in there very well. So that is a constant complaint that it seems like I have with these McFarlane figures. Even when the weapons are kind of rigid, like I had a hard time getting the swords into Green Lantern's hand, if you remember. But yeah, I think I got this. They're pretty cool. I like the way this is set up. He's gonna look great on my shelf. Hopefully sometime soon, whenever I get settled in to my new place. But yeah, Batman at Zur-En-Arrh. That's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Let me know what you think about this figure. Let me know what you think about the Grant Morrison comics. I think that that was a great run of comics. Morrison's a fantastic writer. I love the way that they write Batman. It's a really good run of comics. And Grant Morrison's Batman is probably one of the best takes on the character, I think. So let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.